Okay, it's December 1st, you guys. Thanks for joining me again. Looks like there's not enough snow out there, of course, to do any snowmobiling, so I guess we're going to have to do some projects. And it's about that time of year to do some projects. There's one that I wanted to do for quite some time, and I just ordered it in. Hopefully it's going to do exactly what we wanted to do, but ever since getting the Viper, you can notice that the seat on the apex squishes in. You sit considerably lower, and everyone's talked about raising them up a little bit. So what did I do? I ordered off the WRP seat kit, or at least that's what I wanted to. But for some reason or another, some people like to have the seat cover that matches and they want to use the factory cover, or they're cheap like me and they just want the foam. So I ordered the foam. So I went right to the manufacturer, Seat Concepts, and I got the foam kit. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pull the cover off the seat on the Apex. Got a 2012 XTX, and we're going to put the new foam on and see how it works. Hopefully we can get the cover back on without ruining it. That's the goal, of course. But this is going to be a nice project. We're going to turn the heat up in the garage a little bit and get the sleds off the trailer, because I haven't even pulled them off yet. It's December 1. How sad is that? But the snow isn't there, so what do you do? Anyways, so here it is. This is the seat kit from WRP. Actually, Seat Concepts. I ordered it directly from Seat Concepts because WRP couldn't send me just the foam. But actually what you're seeing here, got a little instruction sheet and the piece of foam, which is kind of nice. We're going to toss this out. The foam piece like this actually comes with another piece as well, and this is a moisture layer plastic they're asking us to put over the foam before putting the cover back on. So we'll be sure to put that in there. Of course, we don't want to ruin this foam. It looks like a nice piece, but it's the shape you can see just from the profile. That thing is going to sit taller. They're saying 2 inches. Still our trunk cutout, of course, and some guys have made this work with the factory cover, so hopefully everything will be good. But what we need to do right now, get the sled off the trailer. You see, as my seat's up right now, I've got a 2.5-inch PowerMat pivot riser on here. And you can see where I'm sitting, my forearms are pretty straight across. So it's really not a bad riding position as it sits right now. As you can see, there's a fair amount of squish in the seat. I'm guessing with me at 240 pounds, I'm squishing it pretty good. So the whole idea is, let's get that heavier seat in there and not let it squish as much. Hopefully it's going to get us up 2, maybe 3 inches. 2 inches would be a huge improvement, as you can see the change in just my angle of my seat, or my legs and my arms. So let's give this a shot and get this. You know what's all of that? Hey, yo, so check this out. So let's do it. Now underneath here, you can see we got wide crown staples, so we made sure that we bought wide crowners. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark some of these spots, because I'm going to get some main points to put the new or the same cover back on and line these up. And you see these rusted just a little bit. Probably want to use. Okay, so we got the seat back up on the bench, and what we're finding out is that when the cover was put on there originally, they actually put just the slightest bit of a notch in the vinyl right here on the front of the seat, and that was to mark dead center, because on the seat pan there's actually a notch there as well. So that was dead center. That was very important, because the first 2 staples were probably put in there. Same goes for the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to go around the edge of this and mark where it was. That way when I pull it on, I've got a goal to shoot for. I want to get within, you know, 1/8 of an inch of that line. Also, I'm going to pull out more of these staples. And what I've found is these are about 1/4 to 3/8 inch depth. So the staples I have are about 1/2 inch. I don't want to go that deep. So I'll probably have to go get some staples, make sure they're stainless, because as you can see, some of these have rusted. So that's our next step. I'm going to outline this whole thing, get a better Sharpie, and we'll go from there. Start yanking staples out. And then that, of course, just a fine screwdriver, pull them out. If there's an easier way, I'd let you know. One thing I did do yesterday, and I've got a good staple gun, it actually works pretty decent. But what I had noticed is, and this is going to be kind of difficult to get in this thing, it might be difficult where I'm at. Even here, this might be a little bit difficult. So I did go out and I invested it was $24 at Harbor Freight. I've heard this thing works actually pretty good, but for 24 bucks, I'm gonna give it a shot. I've got a decent air compressor. I mean, it'll run at 100 PSI. It'll actually run down to 70, I think is what it says. But I tried this thing out last night with some staples that I had for my other staple gun, and I was knocking them into 2x4s without an issue. So I think this will be a good investment. You know, after all the discounts, like the 20% coupons and everything else that you get at Harbor Freight, I walked out the door for $21, and it included a free screwdriver. So I think that's a good investment. One thing I am going to have probably difficult getting at, and I notice a few of these staples, these suckers are down. I'm going to be able to shoot from here, but they're going to be difficult to get at. So this is going to be a good investment, just if anything, for that 3/4 of an inch reach to get down along the edges. So this was a blessing in disguise. Okay, so I've gone around the entire edge with my Sharpie. I've marked the edge of the vinyl and everywhere, so I can kind of get an idea of the shape of where it's supposed to be when I start stretching it back over the top. In fact, I marked all the notches. I even marked a couple spots here as reference points, so when I stretch it and I want to mark a couple or put a couple staples in, I get an idea of where I should start from. So I think this will be kind of helpful. So now it's just a matter of starting to yank staples. Okay, so I'm halfway around the seat right now, and you see this is coming up fairly easily. A couple tricks as you go along, and I remember these. I thank my mom, Marcy, for showing me some upholstery tricks when we reupholstered a couple Lazy Boys a long time ago. Get a fine blade screwdriver, get it under the fabric, and you can pry up the staples just a little bit easier. Just get them started, and then just get about a half dozen to a dozen of them just started, and then just go back with a needle nose and pop them out. And just pop, 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 they'll come right out. I hope they go in as easy as they're coming out. Okay, so I just finished up pulling all the staples out. In fact, I did a quick count. There was 93 staples in this thing. So if it gives you an idea, you're gonna need roughly 100 staples. I'm gonna pull the cover off. I'm just trying to figure out if I should pull the foam together, but it looks like the foam is glued down, because that's expected. The cover itself is just laid on there, and there's no water barrier that I can see right now, but we're gonna just pull this back. And as you can see on my seat pan, I've still got that line. Of course, you can see the staples, but this will give us a good guide as far as where to go. So that should be helpful. Inside the trunk, there's these little clips. You just have to pull them down, and they will sometimes come undone when you're actually riding your sled. But those clips just hook down inside the plastic. That's what holds the trunk piece in place when you ride, and then it just lifts off. We do have some straps. Oh, I see. Okay, so inside the trunk, there's also two straps that just need to unhook, and they go down inside. And that's what gives you that little lumbar support that on the back of your butt behind the trunk. Those go right through the seat, and it keeps the foam pulled down. So we've got to make sure we do that. We'll also have to make sure that the new foam has got those slits in them, which I don't think it does, because it's got a new style trunk on it, because it comes with a different cover. So we might have to cut those holes in the new foam. So anyways, there's the cover. Covers off. Ours is obviously in really good shape, so no issues there. Here's the clips I was talking about. Here's the two pieces. So if we can use them, that'll be important. We might have to cut some spots in the new foam. We'll have to check that out, because those are not on the new foam. So you can see those right here. That's what pulls that seat down. That's an important piece that I didn't think of. As you can see, the foam is actually glued down. So we're going to peel this off. We're going to clean off any residue that happens to be left. And then we use a 3M adhesive to put the new foam back. So as I'm pulling the foam up off of the original seat pan, what I'm finding out is there's just glue in key areas. And some of those key areas happen to be the leading edge and the trailing edge. Obviously to keep the foam from moving while pulling the new cover on, things like that. There's a couple little spiky pieces, but just that little bit of adhesive, you can hear it coming loose. That's all there is to it. And there's our foam. And there's those notches that we're going to have to cut probably into the new foam piece. So I'm going to take this. So as far as the seat pan goes, we're good. I might hit this with some Goo Gun, take those things off. You can see the holes here for those two straps. And then, of course, our trunk, which isn't a big deal. So I'm going to grab that piece of foam, and we'll just test fit it. All right. Okay. Fits perfectly. Obviously, it's just an awesome piece. This is pretty freaking cool. All right, there we go. There's our new foam. It just falls right into place. So we'll put a little bit of adhesive on there, but I'm going to explore cutting those holes. I'm really kind of worried about that. I'm assuming they're going to have to go back here, or those straps are going to be sitting up underneath there, and we might feel them under the cover, and we don't want that. So let's see how this goes. In fact, what I might do is I might throw it on the sled and sit on it. Okay, this is kind of cool to see, because this is the new Seat Concepts foam on the seat pan already. You can kind of see it's up fairly high already. In fact, I'm gonna sit on this. It's noticeable difference. It's more firm, if anything. We're not necessarily up higher to begin with, because the other seat came up quite a bit. It just doesn't squish as much. So that's a noticeable difference right there. You can see that my arms already are not level. They were level before, they're not now. Yeah, this is going to be a good upgrade. Now let's see if we can get so I'm test fitting the cover over the top. And as you can see, we've got these two straps. These are just connected with this piece of wire. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to take these straps probably off, because from what I'm seeing, when I pull the cover over and I stretch this down, this piece is going to be flat. So the purpose of the straps before was to suck it down in that little lumbar piece. Without it, the straps are just going to create some kind of weird unevenness. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take them out for now. I don't think I want to cut into this foam because I don't think it serves any purpose other than it would pull the seat off, but it might pull it out of shape. So I'm going to test, especially knowing that this can come out fairly easily because it just slides through here. So I'm going to pull these straps out and we're going to test fit this. I might try pulling down around the corners just a little bit and see how it fits before I glue the foam. The foam I don't think needs to be glued. There really was minimal foam on the previous one, but I do have a can of 3M spray. Seat Concepts is recommending some 3M Super 77 adhesive spray. I've got some here. I'm going to give it a couple shots. I'm actually going to put some gloves on because I don't think I want to get this crap on my fingers. But we're just going to spray some key spots because honestly, this thing isn't moving. So pull the foam off. We're going to spray the foam and not the pan, because the pan, we don't know, we want to make sure it's getting in just the spots where it's going to touch. Good shape. Start here. There we go. We're right back. Okay, so after finding the right staples for the stapler, because these took T50 staples, which are a little narrower than what I had bought, so they're what the previous ones were, but they're going to work just fine. So I went 3/8 rather than 1/4 inch, just a little bit longer. I've got the moisture barrier in here, and I've got 2 staples on either end. So what this has done already for me is tacked it in place. So now you can see that it's going to be nice and tight across the middle. So it's actually going to look pretty good. Now it's just a matter of pulling things tight along the sides and getting rid of the ripples and such. So it's just a matter of working around it, I guess. Okay, so I've gone halfway down either side pretty much. And what I've been doing is I'll pull it down, get it stretched to the point where my marks match up. And I tell you what, writing that outline was money. You put the outline, then you know how far you need to stretch it, and it gets it as smooth as you can. Then I'll clamp it with hand clamps, so it's got an extra set of fingers. Once you get it, now you can see I've still got a couple little ripples here, so I might have to heat it up and kind of stretch it and maybe pull it a little bit, get it flattened out. But that's the difference of the shape of the seat. This side, I've been doing a section and going back and forth. That way I get it stretched evenly. Because right now, this is going to be quite the stretch to get around this part, because that's where most of the extra foam is put. So as soon as I get past this point, the front half should be easy. So this is the tricky stuff. Staples going 3/4 away, or at least past the halfway, 2/3 up either side right now. I've been pulling them tight and pulling wrinkles out the side. It's a good time to take a look at it. So as it sits, and I've still got a clamp on this one side, other than pardon the dirt, it's pulling down really nice and tight. And in fact, this spot right here where those clamps used to be, or those straps that went through, that's nice and smooth. So it laid good. I'm pretty happy with that. There's a couple little wrinkles in the tail section, but that's not horrible. This side is pretty much all down, so that feels good. It looks straight. I got a couple little wrinkles I can work out. Not a problem. This particular side has yet to be stapled down here, but it has been to the back. So far it looks pretty darn good on this side. So let's get past these corners. Once we get past those, we can pull it down snug up front. Should be good. I'll cut the center out of this and clamp those down, and that should sit nice. So we might have a couple little wrinkles, but not an issue. As nice, as firm as this feels on top, it's gonna be money. Okay, probably last update before I'm finished on this whole deal. I've got all the staples in all the way up until this edge. And I tell you what, drawing that outline was key. You got to do that, because once you did that, you knew how far you had to stretch. I made sure I made points to wherever the seams came together, marked a couple spots, and you're constantly stretching to that particular area. Once you do that, you know that the wrinkles are gone. Because as it sits on this side, there's no wrinkles at all, and I'm all the way to the front. I've only got those few staples around the front, and then we should be good. So as it sits, I'm going to finish these up and then we'll catch back. Clean up on this. As I go around, I'm just making sure that I've got seams pulled, things like that. I've got staples. It's where I need them. I want to make sure there's no half staples sticking in there because I don't want to just scratch my sled. And I don't want to rub on any of the vinyl too and then wear a hole. Now the only thing else I've got is this vapor barrier, which I'm just going to trim back. Vapor barrier is trimmed all the way around. Flip her over, take a look. Other than the dirt, it looks pretty darn good. Got no ripples. It's nice and smooth. Trunk looks good. Looks square. The only thing left is pop this trunk, put the vapor barrier in here, and of course pull these straps down. Now that's my strap for my toolkit, obviously, but these just need to be pulled down. Hopefully they won't wrinkle shit up. Okay, so now the trunk is finished too. Even though that's pulled down nice and tight, the trunk sits good and is lined inside. So I think this is a wrap. That's gonna work. Let's go put it on the machine. All right, so we've got our new seat recovered, of course. Let's slide this in. Hopefully that fits really good. All right. Let's line up those holes in the back. I'll put the bolts in later, but I think you can kind of see the idea right there. It looks pretty freaking good. Smooth all the way around. It's nice and stiff. This looks good here. Obviously it doesn't have that lumbar bump anymore, but that should work. Yeah. Look at how much less squish we've got. What I'll probably do is I'll probably link a little bit of video in here of what it was before and now after. Again, I'm 240 pounds, 45-ish. Anyways, you can see the squish isn't as much there. This is going to be a better seat. I like it. Let me get it mounted on there. We'll be done.